When I was a child, we used to pick a buttercup and hold it underneath somebody's chin. And if it shone yellow under your chin, that was supposed to be a sign that you loved butter. Well, I do love butter, and I'm going to show you how to make butter today. I'm going to use a Kilner jar butter churn. This is a glass jar with a special insert with beater paddles. Now, if you haven't one of these, don't worry, it's possible to make butter using an ordinary glass jar, so long as it has a good tight fitting lid, and you can put inside the jar a glass marble. When the cream is in here and you shake the jar up and down, that will act in the same way as the paddles. Now, this whole process does take time. Depending on the temperature of the room you're working in, it could take as long as an hour, or it might take as little as 15 minutes. So it's a good idea to have somebody else close by who can take a turn of the beating or the shaking with you. First thing you need is some cream, and the cream has to be at room temperature. And pour half of this into the jar. And then I'll put my paddles in, close that up. And now I'm going to stir and stir and stir. Cream is made up of fatty lumps and water. And when we churn it like this, the walls of those fatty lumps break down a little. And the lumps can then join together to make one big lump eventually. So we end up with two things. We end up with solid butter and liquid buttermilk. So there are many traditions associated with butter making. If somebody came into your house while there was butter making in process, they would have to take a turn at turning the churn. If they didn't, then it was supposed to bring bad luck. Sure, people were afraid as well of their neighbours stealing away their butter, or preventing their butter from setting. And there were things that they used to do to prevent that from happening. Sometimes people would put hot coals under their butter churn to keep anything evil or the evil eye away from their butter. I'm still turning the churn. A good 5 or 10 minutes later, my cream is still a bit cold, so it's still very runny. Eventually it will become like whipped cream, and then the next step, it will turn into butter lumps. I might try that charm now. Come fat butter lumps, come. Come fat butter lumps, come. Come fat butter lumps, seeds of wisdom. Come fat butter lumps, come. Let's see. Oh, you'll see it's starting to turn. It's yellowish on the edge here. Very good. Now, if I show you this, you'll see it's looking a little like butter. Well, just another few minutes, I think. Another few turns, and I think that will be it. Ooh, lovely. I think we have butter. You'll see yellow solids in the bottom, and there's a bit of liquid in there too. That's our buttermilk. What I need to do now is strain off the butter. Pouring it into a sieve, but it's still got lots of buttermilk in amongst it. So what I need to do now is to give this a wash. There it is when it's come out of the icy cold bath. It's fairly clean now, squeezed all of the buttermilk out of it. So there's my butter in a little dish ready to use. A couple of oat cakes here, and I'm going to give it a try. A little bit of butter, maybe a little bit more. Let's see, how's that? Delicious.